Hey everyone, welcome to a doula pregnancy journey. I'm Stakira, the owner of Triangle Doulas of Color. I'm a birth and postpartum doula. I've been doing this work for almost a decade now, and I am also a mommy of three. So, expecting number three coming up here in a few months, and I am here to document what this journey has been like for me and highlight some of the things that could be important on your journey. So, this episode is going to actually be about when I found out I was pregnant. This surprise pregnancy was very ironic for a few different reasons. Number one, I found out that my mother had me at the age 34 at about 8 years old. At that time, I said, maybe I'll have my third and have a baby girl, because I'm the third and a baby girl, when I'm 34 too. However, when I turned 34, we were not planning to have another baby right away. So I kind of dismissed that idea and thought to myself, like, that is probably not going to happen, right? Like, we're trying to figure out if we're even going to have a third, but we're definitely not in a space where we're ready to say, yes, we're going to do it within this year. So that was just not even on the radar, right? So another reason why this was so ironic is because my best friend and I have been best friends since the third grade. So since we were about 8 or 9 years old, however old you are in third grade. And I have had two children and she has yet to have any children. And so, after the first baby, it's like, okay, well, maybe when I have my second, you'll be having your first. So then after I had my second, and she was here to witness the birth, she was one of my support people for that labor and delivery. And, while she was here, I'm like, okay, well, this baby is born. I have had my second. You haven't had a baby yet. Maybe I'll have my third or my last baby and you'll have your first. And, we have wanted to have a pregnancy together, to have children that are the same age since we planned that out in high school, right? Like, okay, we're gonna have babies at the same time. We're gonna get pregnant together and have babies that are the same age so they can be best friends too. And then that, not on the radar once again, ended up coming to fruition. She had her baby. She was about 6 months pregnant when I learned of this surprise pregnancy. So that was the irony in that for number two. And, I always envisioned that we would have three children. We always wanted three children, but, after having our second and just being in the throes, I feel like mentally I don't get to a space where I can even fathom the thought of having another child until my little ones are done nursing and at least 2 years old. When they come out of that baby phase, I'm like, oh, I kind of miss them being a baby. I remember that was my first. And then with my second, we just weren't there yet. He had just turned 2 when we ended up finding out we were expecting this go round. So we hadn't gotten to that place where we were missing the baby phase because adjusting to life with two can be a huge adjustment. So it was a big adjustment for us. And we were still trying to figure out, are we going to do this again or are our hands full? So it was also really ironic that we've always envisioned having three, but definitely weren't to the place where we were ready to say we were even going to still have three, and ended up getting pregnant with number three. So, some of the first trimester, I'll say some of the things that led me to believe that I might be pregnant, but I was still kind of not really looking at it seriously. And what's so ironic is that we have followed the same birth control method for the past 6 years and has worked perfectly fine for us. And so the fact that we ended up getting pregnant this time was really shocking and surprising. But we have done more of the natural family planning method, and I will say not to the full extent of basal body temperature every day and cervical mucus every day like you're supposed to, but tracking cycles and using withdrawal and things like that in combination, right, together to lessen the likelihood of getting pregnant. But what changed in the month that we got pregnant was that I weaned our 2-year-old toddler from nursing. And so I think that that has really played a role in when I was ovulating, and I was so crazy busy. I traveled to Georgia twice in like 2 weeks time. I was at a birth for like 2 or 3 days. It was crazy. So I was not keeping up as well as I should have been keeping up with what was going on in my body. And that, I believe, is what really contributed to us getting pregnant this time. So super ironic. We were very shocked. We're like, what? What in the world? Each of our other babies have been calculated, planned out to the T. We were trying, maybe even trying for months. With our second, we were trying for a few months before we were able to get pregnant with him. And so to have a surprise pregnancy was another piece of the irony, because we were not saying we were ready to have another one. And I ended up like saying to myself, like, if we end up having a third, I bet it's going to be a surprise baby, because we cannot get on the same page about, are we doing this? Are we going to have any more? My husband was dead set on like, we're done. 2 and we're done. I'm like, I've always wanted 3 and I'm one of 3. But I know right now isn't the time, but I'm still not to the space where I'm ready to say, no, we're not going to have any more. And the fact that I even said out my mouth, if we were to have a third, it'll be a surprise baby. And then lo and behold, we have a surprise baby that'll be born a month before I turn 35. So the baby will be born when I'm 34. And my best friend and I are pregnant. We're pregnant at the same time, and our babies will be about 6 months apart, which is the same time frame that she and I are apart in our age. So that is the first episode of the irony of my surprise pregnancy. Please follow along, subscribe to the page, like the video if you like this kind of content. I'm going to journey through the entire pregnancy. If you're expecting right now, you can definitely download the Advocacy for Birth bundle that we have for free. Go to our website, or I can link it somewhere. I'll link it in the video. I'll figure out how to link it in the video so that you can get that bundle for free and learn about advocating for the birth you desire right from the very beginning. I am a huge component as a doula, as a birth worker. Advocacy is super important, and it is not just in the healthcare setting. So we'll talk about that. I'll give you some resources for that with the Advocacy bundle. But for now, stay tuned for our next episode. We're going to stay in the first trimester. I'm going to walk you guys through it. I'm super excited to share this journey with you. Leave me a comment down below what you thought about this content. Did you have a surprise pregnancy? Have a great day.